So, first of all, good morning. I saw last night that Muriel Bowser won the primary for the mayor's run. And from what I saw, it's a lot of people who voted for her. I mean, I think Trayon and the dude Robert White was kind of like neck and neck, and then the dude James Butler, whoever that is, but she had the majority of the votes. Like, it's people out here that's saying that they, I guess, don't like her or whatever, or I don't know if people not voting. I don't know. It just looked, I mean, from the numbers that they show, even though I know, these news outlets, they always blowing shit up. I get it. But, I mean, I think DC needs a change. I think they need a change from her I think they need a change from her in a dramatic way. But it looks like they saying that her winning this primary might make her a shoo-in for winning, another term. And I'm just curious to know how that's gonna make motherfuckers feel. How did that make people feel yesterday seeing that shit? Because it was everywhere. Fox, Twitter, Facebook. I mean, it was everywhere. I mean, and even though I don't live in the nation's capital anymore, I still, hold a dear regard to my city, to the city that raised me, right? And so we see a lot of the stuff that's going on there. I mean, every week I get little updates on what's going on. Iverson Mall, Tyson's Corner. It was something that happened in Oxon Hill not too long ago. I mean, it's just, Southeast. Young girl got shot and she got killed in the Southeast not too long ago. It just seemed like I don't know. I mean, it just seems like, talking to the owner operator of a nonprofit here. I was talking to her yesterday, and it just seems like she makes a valid point. She was like, to me, it seemed like everybody who is trying to do community service based work, whether it be a nonprofit, whether it be a company, whatever. She said it seems like people are in competition. She was like, I know people who have orgs and they have kids, and I may have an event, and I may invite them as an org to come and invite their kids to our program, and they be like, "Oh, we'll see," and never come. And she said it just burns her up because she feels like, if people partner together more, that we could reach, we can have a farther reach. And I do feel like that. I mean, I see some nonprofits, in the DMV area who collaborate, because we've, as a nonprofit type Inc., we've collaborated with multiple organizations, whether it be nonprofit or businesses. So we understand, that reach can be further with partnerships. But she was just saying how she can just see, that the village aspect isn't really there because people really don't want to partner. They really don't, unless their name is on it, or unless they can get their name on it. And I told her, I said, that's it's sad, it's unfortunate, but that's what it is. It's almost like, how can I benefit from this? I mean, I'll do it, but how do I benefit? And I mean, I think in DC it's kind of similar, but it's just so much. It's just so much violence and so much killing and just so much. It's hard to kind of pinpoint what to do. I do think that could be an aspect of helping, that reach all across the DMV area. But with everything going on and with this mayor's race kind of shaping up the way it is now. It's kind of hard to pinpoint. It's kind of hard to pinpoint, how to kind of combat some of the violence and some of the senseless killings and the carjackings and armed robberies. It's just so much shit going on, man. And it's wild because when you look at the age, I mean, it's the age where you would think that we would try to be, trying to reach these kids. But I tell people a lot, that, and some people know for themselves that, I would never say give up on kids regardless of how old they are, because some of them really, really don't know who they are. They are in a identity crisis, and a lot of the shit that they do it to be, to think that it makes them cool. It makes them, it solidifies them in their neighborhood, which is, I mean, I just feel like, if we can get with the kids and try to help them, change that mindset, and I know it's a little harder in kids that's older, but as my partners and I talk to people, it's just like we got to start earlier. We got to start in like elementary school and trying to start to groom these kids and kind of showing them how to find better coping mechanisms, because a lot of these kids that are doing some of the shit that they're doing, their coping mechanisms, are aggression. Like they get upset, they do shit, and it just makes me think, like, with her possibly, Muriel Bowser, with her possibly winning again and getting a third term, it's just like what type of stuff, like how is DC gonna look now? Because we kind of we kind of saw how it was shaping out. Like I've encountered so much information going down to the mayor's office. You know what I'm saying? Going down there to that building and listening to Charles Allen and listening to Trayon and listening to all of these council members about, body worn cameras with the DC police and, incidents of police officers, using their authority and I mean, I heard a story about a brother getting run over and getting ran down on a four-wheeler. Of course, I was working with Miss Cornelia Austin with her son, and the police, shot and killed him. And I mean, to this day, I don't think she really ever got a, like straight line of what happened. They gave her a video. She felt like it was altered. She saw stuff that didn't make sense to her. And so I know she ended up filing a $100 million lawsuit, against the MPD. And I'm not 100% how that worked out. But it's just so many stories of shit that was going on that I didn't even know. Like, I knew stuff was going on by what I saw, either on, the news, if I caught the news, or, social media outlets, or people, on FaceTime, on Facebook Live, because a lot of times I caught stuff on Facebook Live. And, you just don't get the full picture of what's going on until you sit into one of these rooms, when you listen to these people talking. Black Lives Matter, the organization, April and them, have been doing a great job with just organizing and helping people, cope and deal with all of this death. And I heard her talking about, just the death in general and the mental toll that it takes on her as a person that's trying to fight for our people. So I get it, man. I get it. So I'm just curious. I'm just curious to know how that's gonna look. I'm just curious to know how that's gonna look. Okay, so it looks like there's a bad accident up here, and that I might not be able to take my street. And I have to go that way to get to where I'm going. Yeah, and I don't know, y'all. I just feel like, I just feel like how is DC gonna look? Like are people um who voted for her, because obviously a lot of people voted for her because she won the primary, but are they confident that are they confident in her ability, to do the things that Washingtonians want to see? You know, I'm curious about that, and I'm even curious on, if there's a chance that um, if another person, wins and gets that seat, are the people who voted for that person confident enough that they're going to do, you know, make the necessary change that people want to see in DC? It just is, to me, it's just a oh man, so he's on the medium. Okay. So can we yeah, this is a bad accident right here. And these people just be flying, they be on their phone. Yeah, but at least I can go and then buck a U-turn. But I'm just curious, y'all. I'm just curious. It's just one of those things that I think about a lot often. I mean, because I love DC. I mean, DC has done a lot of good things for me. Um, I was just telling my man Chris that I don't regret a lot of stuff that happened to me in DC, because DC, just growing up in that environment, it kind of pushed my survival mode to the next level, and I'm now I've survived that era. I mean, we grew up in the 80s, 90s, you know what I mean, and I survived that era. I survived Southeast, you know what I mean. I mean, that could literally be, a book title. I survived Southeast because I did, and DC, to a lot of people, I listen to people when they talk about DC, and they say how beautiful of a place, it is, right? And I just be like, well, what part of DC you talking about? Because I'm not saying DC's not a beautiful place, but when you grew up in DC and you know the ins and outs of some of the neighborhoods and areas that you grew up, to me it's not that beautiful. I mean, as far as downtown and the buildings and the structures and all that, yeah, I give you that. Cherry blossoms, all that, yeah, I give you that. But when you grew up in the dirt in the trenches, I mean, you don't really understand when people say, "Oh, it's a beautiful place." I mean, you don't turn them off. I mean, you don't say, "Oh man, you don't know what you're talking about," because that's their vision of DC. You know what I'm saying? But just thinking about where DC is moving. Like, we've seen the gentrification, we've seen just moving, tearing down neighborhoods and rebuilding neighborhoods, but making them cost more for the residents not to be able to come back and live in their own neighborhood. That's, I mean, we've been seeing a lot of this, and I mean, a lot of that has been done under her watch. Um, I know some of it was done before she was even in office, so I can't put it totally all on her. But I just look at some of these programs and some of these nonprofits and like question, like, are they really, partnering together and banding together and trying to expand their reach for what's going on? And is she, taking the initiative to reach out to these nonprofits and these orgs and these people that's trying to do stuff in the community? I mean, is any other candidates doing that? I mean, I don't wanna down talk, any of the candidates, but I'm just curious on what DC on what the future of DC looks like. I'm just curious. And it's just a thought, just something to think about, you know. Again, I'm somebody who knows DC very well, and even when I'm here and people ask me where I'm from and I tell them, DC, I'm not really sure what thought goes through their head, because I don't know what they know about DC. I know when I do talk to a few people here, and I tell them I'm from DC, and they talk about their experiences. Oh, I got an aunt. She live in Maryland, or she live in whatever, or she live in DC. Whatever. I mean, they have their own experiences, and some of them are funny, some of them are okay. It's just like okay, but until you really start talking to people about where you're from and some of the stuff that you've gone through, it's like they don't really understand DC, like that. Just like being from DC, I haven't fully engulfed, and I don't fully understand, Miami. I don't fully understand, you know, Pompano. I don't understand Fort Lauderdale. Like, I don't understand a lot of the stuff that goes on down here, and it's not bad. I mean, it's, people down here, they living, they living their best life if they're older. Like my man right here in the old school, and for the most part, people go to work, and people, I mean, Florida's different. I mean, just life in Florida is just different, period, right? And I don't know. I'm just curious. I'm just curious. I mean, I mean, I pretty much go to work, go home, I stay out the way. I don't do too much, so I don't find me ever really having no issues down here. But I'm just saying, as far as DC, I'm just curious to know what the state of DC is. I mean, I saw Trayon. He was uptown, and he was probably letting people know, oh, you think I don't got love uptown? And I remember him going uptown, and some of his flies was ripped off the I guess the poles or whatever they had put him up. Some of his flies was ripped down or whatever. I was just like, damn. So I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I just saw that last night, and it just made me just think about a lot of shit before I went to sleep. Like, wow, like she won again. And I'm not saying that she won, because I know they still got to do it again and do like the main vote in November. But just from what I saw in the primary, I mean, damn near everybody voted for her. So in order, if motherfuckers really want to see a change, they're gonna have to do something. And I know it's that conversation about I don't vote. And I mean, okay. I mean, if you don't vote, all right, that's cool. And if you don't vote for the person that you want in there, and she win again, then what? Then what is gonna be? Because we've already seen what she on. She on money time. She is on money time for real. So I'm just curious. It'll probably be something that I'll talk about tonight. Real talk with the 6-man live in the room, or I may do it on my public page. It depends on how I feel when I get off work. But I'm just curious, y'all. State of DC. What does that look like under the helm of Muriel Bowser again? And if people don't want to see her in there, why the fuck did so many people vote for her? Like I said, Robert White and Trayon, they was like neck and neck. But her votes compared to theirs, crazy. The dude James Butler, I just saw a video of him the other day. I asked Angel, you know who the fuck this is? She was like, nah. I was like, oh, okay. Like, this nigga running for mayor. Like, what? James Butler? Like, I have never seen him, like, nowhere. Like, I've never seen him on no council. I ain't never seen him in neighborhoods. I ain't never seen this dude ever. Like, ever. I don't know who he is, man. I don't know. But, I don't know. I'm just curious, man. State of DC, man. What is the future? What does the future hold for the District of Columbia if Muriel Bowser gets back in? Because I've seen and heard some stuff about her in general. It's not like that I, don't like her personally, because I don't know her as a person, but as a mayor, and some of the stuff that I've heard and some of the stuff that I've seen, I'm curious. Y'all leave your comments, man, down below, man. Let me know what you think, man. we might double back to this conversation later on. Y'all be safe, man. 6 man. Peace.